Just like that bloke from the gym sliding into your DMs, an unwanted message has just appeared in the chat. A year of temperatures above 2 degrees is now possible in the very near future. Not likely, but possible. We've heard a lot about temperatures reaching 1.5 degrees above pre-industrial temperatures, and 2023 and 2024 really surprised a lot of scientists by being way hotter than most expected. But 2 degrees has so far not really been mentioned much at all. But that quietly changed last week. At some point before 2030, there is now a very small but non-zero chance that global average temperatures could reach 2 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial baseline for a full year. That's according to a new report from the World Meteorological Organization, a division of the UN which is responsible for monitoring the world's weather and climate. The WMO have released a look ahead to the next 5 years, offering some reflection on the past 5 years and predicting what we might be in for before 2030. Looking back, it shows that carbon dioxide concentrations are the highest they've been in 800,000 years. That is so much longer than human history, meaning we are now living in a radically different era to the one that we evolved in. As a result of that CO2 rise, 1 year average temperatures have increased continually, a pattern that we've seen since the 1960s over both land and sea. Different regions have experienced different impacts over the last 5 years. For instance, the Arctic has continued to warm 3 to 4 times faster than the global average, and many regions were drier than usual, while still others were unusually wet. All in all, 2023 and 2024 ended up being worse than predicted as temperatures suddenly jumped. Scientists are still scrambling to figure out exactly why, and if you want to hear about that from one of the biggest names of US climate science, then check out Climate Adam's video over here. Looking ahead to the next 5 years, there are a few standout messages from the WMO. Number 1. It's very likely that at least one of the years in the next 5 will exceed 1.5 degrees C for a full year. Again. 2, it's likely that one of the next 5 years will beat the record held by 2024 for the hottest year. Number 3, it's also quite likely that the 5-year average for 2025 to 2029 will be above 1.5 degrees. But number 4 is the kicker. It's also not impossible that one of the years before 2030 will average out at or above 2 degrees above pre-industrial. Hello, 2 degrees. I wasn't expecting you so soon. I'm going to jump in here with some semantics. Yes. Welcome to Pedant's Corner. The context to these numbers is really, really important. The 1.5 degrees that is so often talked about in the media is usually referring to the long-term average. That is the political target that was agreed in the Paris Agreement on climate change. That number refers to a 20-year average over the whole globe relative to the average temperature in 1850 to 1900. And I made a whole video about it up here. By that measure, we're at around 1.3 degrees Celsius right now. It's hard to know for sure because it's a moving average that accounts for the last 10 years and the next 10 years, which obviously we don't have observations for yet. It also means that we won't really know we've exceeded it until after the fact. Whether or not we think it's a good way to measure temperature rise is an entirely different discussion, but it's the threshold that is hardwired into climate policy, so it's here to stay. Either way, we're almost certainly already living in the first 20 years of above 1.5 degree temperatures. Where the confusion arises is because we've already seen temperatures shoot well over 1.5 degrees above pre-industrial, albeit for a shorter amount of time. In fact, I got loads of comments asking me about this on my last video. 2024's average temperature was, according to the WMO, 1.55 degrees Celsius above average, and several datasets show that the 1 year running average temperature continues its upward march above 1.6 degrees. There was loads of news about how we've exceeded this important milestone for a full year, including from very reputable outlets like Copernicus, which is the European Climate Organization responsible for per the state of the climate reports, including the one I covered in this video. Obviously, it's very significant that we've exceeded 1.5 degrees for more than a full year now, but it's not the same as the Paris Agreement target. I'm not saying this in any way to downplay anything, in fact, quite the opposite, because if things are already this bad when the long-term average is 1.3 degrees, then just imagine how much worse things can and will get on the way to 1.5 and beyond. It's already desperately urgent that we reduce emissions and stabilise temperatures. As you are no doubt bored of hearing me say now, every tonne of CO2 and every fraction of a degree matters. The WMO says the 1-year average temperature of every single year in the next 5 will probably be between 1.2 and 1.9 degrees higher than pre-industrial. But there's a slim chance that one of those years might hit 2 degrees. For a brief moment in 2023, we had temperatures of 2 degrees above pre-industrial, but only for a few days. The idea of having a full year above 2 degrees has until now felt pretty inconceivable for the near term. Even if we say that this is a conservative estimate given the apparent acceleration of recent warming and our underprediction of temperature rise over the last few years, the chance of recording a 1-year average of 2 degrees above pre-industrial is still pretty small. But the fact that it's even on the cards is mad. I'm sure in a few years I'll be looking back on these videos nostalgically and pining for a time when all we had to worry about was just the prospect of 2 degrees. But for now, it's a scary blob on the horizon that we really don't want to come any closer. Thanks for watching. If you found this video useful, please give it a like and a share and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you'd like to support me even further, then you can do that by signing up over on Patreon, where my wonderful subscribers allow me to make more and better videos. Plus, if you enjoyed our time in Pedant's Corner, you will love this video, where I dive into that 1.5 degree threshold using fruit. All right, till next time.